Pit fights. After the bombing, Seattle had become a ripped, rubble-filled wasteland. That's what people said about it anyway. To Chase, it was a jungle of rebar, cement blocks, and loot. It was getting close to dusk, and he skipped around patches of broken glass by hopping across the boulders that made piles leading up to the buildings they'd fallen from. Chase was trying to get back before the pit fights. He lowered his head against the setting sun so the light wouldn't hurt his sensitive eyes, allowing his white hair to drape over them. He set his jaw, jumping around the familiar piece of rebar that stuck out here and tripped up the other people in his gang, the guards. In the pit fights, the guards mostly just punched and beat on each other till one gave up. Chase's dad, Merc, was the leader of the gang that held this chunk of buildings and land. They were the best armed and toughest gang in Seattle. Chase was proud of the guards. There were still 10 more people waiting to fight for the extra rations that Merc put up for the winners. They trusted him to teach them to fight like a team, to arm and feed them, and so far, they were right to. Chase trotted into the main street of the compound in time. He came up close with big eyes to look into the mud ring. Ron was getting the shit punched out of him again. Ouch. At least he was guarding his face this time. Suddenly, a familiar hand gripped him by the shoulder. Chase flinched. Chase. His father always growled his name. You like it? Chase looked up at his dad. He didn't look mad, so Chase answered. They must be tough. They're soldiers, Merc answered as Ron shouted surrender. Soldiers get knives, rations, and respect. I'm going to be a soldier too, Chase added, repeating what his dad always told him. Yes, Merc said, gripping both Chase's shoulders tightly. Starting today. Chase's stomach dropped as his dad shoved him into the muddy ring. He slipped and fell forward onto his stomach, whacking his elbow. Ouch, he grunted, getting up hastily. He looked up to see Braden stepping over the grass line. Braden was a clumsy 20-year-old with a slim build but huge fists. Chase liked him usually. Chase, Braden said, raising both fists in the air with a huge grin. Finally! Dad? Chase backed away. No one had taught him how to fight, so the only thing he could do was duck under his arms, maybe even dodge. He knew that much from being around his dad. Chase glanced back to see a dark look on his dad's face, mixed with disgust. He shouldn't have fallen down. Chase swallowed and turned back to face Braden. Braden came up and threw a big, predictable punch. Chase brought his elbows up to guard his face. Braden's fist crashed into his forearm dully, knocking him sideways. Chase was 9 years old and only 70 pounds, easy to throw around. Chase staggered sideways, caught his balance, and glanced back at his dad, then at Braden. He was surprised to see that Braden had hesitated too. I'm allowed to dodge, Chase reminded himself. I'm allowed to dodge. This time when Braden threw a punch, faster, Chase dodged. 2 more haymakers, Chase dodged around them. With a frustrated growl, Braden punched twice fast, and the second one hit Chase square on the forearms and knocked him back onto his butt. That hurt his tailbone, and he rolled away instinctively, getting up to his feet without balancing, staggering back. Getting knocked down scared him. That was when the bad part happened. Someone caught him by the arm. No running away, Dad yelled at him. He'd better not embarrass Dad. I'm not. Chase found his voice was just a whisper. Braden could see that he was scared and took a breath before striding toward him. You better defend yourself, Chase, he said. He was allowed to defend himself. He bared his teeth, dodged under the punch, and grabbed Braden's thigh. Then he bit him in the side of his torso. Ah! Braden shouted, slapping Chase over and over in the head. Chase decided this was working, so he kept biting. He felt Braden shift, and Chase felt a hard fist come down on the right side of his back. It was hard enough to knock the wind out of him. Braden took the opportunity to shove Chase off of him and throw him to the ground. Stomach acid came up into Chase's mouth with a grunt he let out when his back smacked into the scraped ground. Middle finger if you surrender, Chase, Braden shouted at him. Chase gave him the finger, panting from the ground. I win, Braden shouted. He reached out to give Chase a hand up. Chase was already getting to his feet and noticed too late, but the gesture was unexpectedly kind. As he left the mud pit, he realized he was smiling. His father slapped him on the shoulder. You're a man now, he said. I expect you in the morning roll call. Chase hesitated. Does this... What? Spit it out, Merc snapped. Chase felt his lips go cold. Does this mean I'm allowed to defend myself now? Merc snorted. You're always... He stopped short and turned to face Chase head on. The hell do you mean, kid? Chase cringed. Out there? In fights, he stammered. Merc bent down in the middle of the group that was watching the next fight, maintaining eye contact with Chase. Chase stood frozen, staring into his dad's eyes in terror. You ever, Merc glared as he spoke, ever try to turn on me? See how that goes. I'll kill you. He straightened up, looking down on the tiny 9-year-old. What are you waiting for? Merc shouted. Chase flinched. Go, do your chores. Chase nodded, then saluted. Yes, sir, and fled.